would appear the weather's not done with us yet. Oh, that was a really nice night. Nothing but me and the sound of the river. So it basically rained on me the entire night. It was just like light dripping rain. It started sometime after dark and it didn't let up until pretty much the sun came up. And I got lucky yesterday, but this does not look promising around me right now. Oh well, I just have to get close to Forester kind of is the plan for today, and then try and scoot over that early. So it's not really an issue with the bear can I have, the barricade, but some of them actually will let water in when it rains. So I always have the habit of just like flipping them over upside down when I set them out. Looks like the Kauias are having another fun morning. So yesterday I did briefly debate continuing up the spur I camped on, which is the upper Kern. It eventually leads to Lake South America and some other areas I've been on past peak bagging trips. I decided not to, just because technically I haven't seen the part between this junction and the PCT. And once I've done that, I'll have technically walked all of the High Sierra Trail. I don't really count it as having done the High Sierra Trail, at least internally, you know, doing patchwork like that. But there is some appeal to being able to talk to others and have seen the entire thing. And that upper Kern is going to be part of that Kern-specific hike that Jen and I are going to do at some point. So I have no real idea what the weather's going to do, other than it's starting to sprinkle on me already, so probably rain. I do have the ability to get a weather report through the inReach. You have to pay $1 or $2. My problem is, when I've done that in the past, it has had about as much accuracy as looking at the clouds and guessing what's going to happen. So I usually don't bother unless I'm just in there stressing and I'm paying $1 for some random comfort that has nothing to do with reality. The rough plan I spec'd out a day or two ago basically had me getting as close as I could to Forester Pass. Forester is, I think, technically like the high point of the JMT PCT. It's 13 something. So it's way up there, way above tree line. Not the sort of thing you want to be crossing in a thunderstorm. I only really have a couple of passes like this that I have to worry about on this route. And again, if I'm down below and in the trees, it can lightning and thunder all at once. And I kind of suspect that yellow down there is another trail crew, because there's been a lot of active work around here. Yeah. Okay, I'm okay with this trend. I really wish Jen was here. So basically they have rules like that because things grow slower up here. So one campfire that you might enjoy for a few hours is burning potentially hundreds of years worth of growth. So it just has too big of an impact in the environment, particularly with how much traffic a lot of this area gets. So there's a general altitude line above which fires are prohibited. I've seen that be different in a few different places and also around a lot of the lakes in the higher use areas, which have just been stripped down and destroyed. They put similar prohibitions. I've seen some, like Bullfrog, where they full on don't allow camping around it these days because there's been so much damage. Good day to be on this side of the Sierra. Okay, and welcome to the PCT, or at least for the moment, it is still dry. So the HST continues that away and goes over Whitney and then down. I have been over Whitney more times than I would prefer, so I have no desire to do that part again. I'm just going to see how close I can get to Forester Pass, and who knows, if I've got a late afternoon window, I may try and get up and over. So I'm currently at about 10,400. I will basically be climbing except for one little dip until Forester Pass. But in general, I'm going to be much higher until after I come off to Boost Pass and hit the middle fork of the Kings. This is also home turf for me. I have been up and down the east side of the Sierra so many times. Twice on the JMT, once on the PCT, and countless times peakbagging. I have seen more people in the last 10 minutes than I've seen since leaving Hamilton. And most of them seem kind of soggy and frazzled from the weather. Including one lady who was just adamant that the weather isn't supposed to be like this late in the year. Which, okay, granted, I'll give her. I more expect stuff like this earlier, like in July, early August. But you are in the mountains, different rules. Ever since my fall and my knee issues, every year I've made it back up here. Feels like a fucking victory. Okay, so everybody on this side says today or tomorrow is the last of the weather, and then it should clear up, so we'll see. So this is why I was going on about having to be flexible. You got these wide open areas where I would not want to be in a lightning storm like I had a couple of days ago. So I have talked about my hipsterish dislike of all the busy areas. For my money, if I was going to come in for like a week or so and just hang out or screw around, the place I'd go is here. That range, this is the backside of Shepherd's Pass. Midway, Milestone, Jordan, Ginevra, there's a bunch of peaks back there. Those canyons you can cross country into. No sign of other people. Really pretty areas. Lots of marmot friends that would make taters very happy. I actually have a print from years ago of this specific range. Similar-ish view from here. It's right up there with the Kauias and the Palisades, if you ask me. I'm going to be dropping down to Tyndall Creek, where there is a big PCT camp. That's where most of the crowds that have been passing me here have been coming from. And then I climb up towards Forester Pass on the far side. And I don't know if this keeps fizzling like this. There's a chance I may be able to get up and over today. So that is the Kauias. It's a little harder to pick out black and red from this side. I think that's Mount Kauai on the left. And you can see Square Top is the squarish one, so that's probably black just peeking around the corner. I have trip reports on my website. Probably have to search like Kauai SAR. I have one for the climbing trip until the fall, and then one for what all happened once I fell. So if I'd continued up the Kern from Upper Kern where I was camped, I would be down there. I was debating this morning possibly going up there and then taking something up to get to Tyndall. The thing that always strikes me now when I'm out here on something like the John Muir Trail is how clean and new and shiny all the gear looks. So this is Tyndall Creek. Generally when we were climbing, we would try to avoid camping here because there is a huge PCT camp, which tends to get quite busy. And yeah, it's the High Sierra. Most places you can go off a little further and a couple hundred feet off trail and find something dispersed. I have spoken a little too soon as far as having hope to get another phosphor today. So this is the backside of Shepherd's Pass. Used to be my favorite of the Sierra passes, mostly because it got me out here. So that's Williamson and Tyndall, which I never did. They were one of those where I was always coming in deeper. And the few times I intend to go do them, something happened. Hey, buddy. Years ago, we came up to do some peaks above Shepherd's over Memorial Day. Memorial Day is rough because it's a long weekend. When I was a wage slave, so I always wanted to use it, always wanted to get into the Sierra, but it was often a little too early. So we were climbing up, got, 800 feet below the pass, and we literally had 100-mile-an-hour winds. Picked me up off a rock, chucked me into some bushes. So we actually had to not only not make the pass, but turn around and descend just to find a camp for that night. We ended up setting up in the middle of this kind of circular bush, and still the wind was enough. It split the side of my Harry Shire's tarp tent. So Jen and I had to wrap the remains around us and just survive the night. Fun times. Oh yeah, and there was another group up there. They had tried to stay higher up. They were all guyed out and everything. We saw them later. They had flat out lost a sleeping bag and like an $8,000 camera because the wind was too much and sent their stuff flying. One of the guys was hiking out with only one boot because of that. It was crazy times. 140, and I'm currently at about 11,800 or so. Jen's heart would be melting. She would say marmot family. $12,150. Damn it. Figures. Right when I need a window. So this is the camp area below Forester. I don't particularly want to camp at 12.5 though, if I can avoid it. So far there's no thunder, so I think I'm going to see if I can get over and worst case retreat to here. That guy passed me earlier. He couldn't get his tent to stay up. He was about to back off, but it's 0.8. I told him I'm going to try it as long as there isn't thunder. So I may have encouraged some adventure. I am feeling like the weather is just screwing with us today. $13,000 feet. You can see the trail cut on the far side of this gully. So this is the famous part of Forester Pass, because the PCTers who come here early in the season, this turns into a snowshoot with a big consequence. Yeah. $18,200. Would appear the weather's not done with us yet. I've had enough close calls for one existence. From the side I started on, they were trying to convince people not to start the High Sierra Trail just because the weather was going to be so rough. Looks like we even got fresh snow up high. Okay, we seem to finally be through the worst of it. On descent, the rain kept coming and going, and actually had a couple of cracks of thunder above us. I am glad I made it over that, and that climb felt good. This rain's been a lot more pleasant than the other day. It's just a little spit and rain. Get you wet, but don't get you soaked. So I'm already over 16 miles, so I've done my mileage. I was already ahead, so I am probably getting to Taboose Pass pretty damn early. I'll have to see what I want to do when I get there. Beyond that, I am trying to avoid a couple of spots. Bubbs Creek, Charlotte Lakes, and Ray Lakes are all really, really busy. So I'm going to try and find a spot that will let me kind of thread past that and stay in a quieter area if possible, which admittedly is going to be easier said than done for a couple of days because there are a ton of people out here. JMT traffic being what it is. Okay, a friend I made going across Forester is back there. He's waiting for some friends of his. I am just trying to find something far enough off trail that I have some privacy and that is not flat, because flat things are underwater. Always pick a tent site that's tilted. A little bit snug, but I can make something work here. Trail's up there 100 feet or so, so doubt anybody will bother me down here. Okay, well, so much for the rain tailing off. I have had tents that have the, pitch the fly first, but all of them take longer to set up than the Nemo, so I tend to just set this up really quick, and I have managed it a bunch of times. So that didn't quite go how I expected, but I really didn't want to stay camped at 12.5 on the far side of Forester, so I'm glad I pushed over. Really wasn't expecting the rain to come in like this. It started as we were descending and then just kept going and going. Sky's lightening a bit, but it rained for 8 hours last night, so nobody knows what's going on. Rumor is that we may get sunshine and things are going to clear after this, but I was fine while we were moving, but I am currently trying to get my base layers dry and back to some body heat. But that felt really, really good. That made me feel more like my old self than anything since surgery. Home sweet home. Okay, well, sun came out eventually. I am kind of glad I stopped when I did, though. It's been hard to get my body heat back.